Hello class, my name is Daniel Lewis and I am covering the topic of racial issues in sport for the final project for PE 555, ethical issues in sport. So we're going to take a look at the racial issues and look at some of the background and the development of racial issues throughout the 20th and 21st century. So, taking a look at the racial issues that we experienced starting in the 20th century, are going to be regarded. Baseball was racially segregated in the early 1900s. So Major League Baseball did not actually have rules in place saying that black players were not allowed to be in the major leagues, but there was a gentleman's agreement amongst owners that they wouldn't sign black players for major league programs. So this was something that Branch Rickey, a team executive for the Brooklyn Dodgers, decided that he wanted to make a change. He needed to do something for his program, and he needed to help the Dodgers get to the next level. So he was looking at it, and it was his decision as a forward thinker that he was going to bring in the first African American baseball player into the major leagues, and that was Jackie Robinson. So that's going to bring us to the movie that we watched, 42, the Jackie Robinson story. This movie was extremely powerful. They did a great job of highlighting the struggles of racial integration in baseball, the racism of the time, and just the challenges that Jackie Robinson was going to face and that he needed to overcome in order for this to be successful for the future of baseball and to implement the integration of baseball. So Jackie Robinson, it highlights all the different relationships, the people that were there to help him through his struggles. He had Branch Rickey. There was the journalist that was helping him out. His fellow teammates helped him through the times of struggles that he had. His wife was a huge part as well of his ability to overcome and have self-control, patience, and not have anything to cause trouble or to hinder his future in baseball because he was under a microscope. Jackie Robinson, he showed that he was ready to step up to all those challenges as well, and he was committed to a larger purpose than just himself. So this story was incredible. It went over and talked about that first year that he played baseball as far as getting signed to the Dodgers and spending that first couple of years on that team, on the Montreal team, trying to work his way up to the majors. So he was one of the first guys, and they were really making an impact and wanted to have him make a splash. So this movie was very impacting, and it highlights those challenges and struggles that he faced. And we're going to look at some more of those. As far as Jackie Robinson, his character, he was the perfect man for the job. As it was highlighted in the movie, they really sought after who's going to be the right guy for this, who's going to be able to step in and handle this kind of scrutiny, handle this kind of the racial slurs, the not being allowed to even stay in different places. There were just so many things that he was going to have to struggle through. And so they found Jackie Robinson. They saw that he had strong character, that he embraced nonviolence, and that he was as well a great talent in baseball. If he wasn't any good, it wouldn't have worked out. So Jackie Robinson was extremely influential for modern baseball. He was the catalyst to what we see today, and he's contributed significantly to the civil rights movement. And as you can see as well, I'd like to highlight on April 15th of every year, Jackie Robinson actually had his jersey retired, and everyone will wear the number 42. So no one can wear the number 42 except for on April 15th, and that's something to honor Jackie Robinson as the first African American player to play in the major leagues. So some of the racial issues that we saw highlighted in the movie and that was faced during the times for Jackie Robinson and for anyone trying to play in sports after that was just the racism and degradation, just the emotional stress that he needed to overcome. It was a great highlight. You were able to see that, just the holding things back, not acting out on that. He did an amazing job on that. He had his teammates for support. He also got rejected by his teammates. So those are some of the other challenges. Some of the guys wanted to leave. They didn't want to be a part of it. So those were some of the struggles. His manager embraced him, and he was found a way to make it happen and to make the team work. They ended up having very successful years while he was there. He made the playoffs. He did a great job. But the movie doesn't talk a lot about that, but it talks about the things that the manager had to do to step up for him, and different times where his fellow teammates had to step in and help him as well. They faced challenges and struggles as far as integrating the integration of Jackie Robinson on the team. When they went on road trips, he wasn't openly accepted into different places, whether it be the hotel they were staying at, different restaurants, things of that nature. And then as well on the field, some of the racial issues that he struggled with was different ball clubs, coaches, and fans yelling obscenities at him, yelling racial slurs at him, just making all sorts of challenges for him. So these are some of the racial issues that were faced that were pretty clear and obvious throughout the movie. So a lot of this was caused because of racial ideologies. The racial ideologies that were in place created institutional racism. If you could bring it back to Plessy versus Ferguson, this was separate but equal. This was something that enabled and was something that was ingrained in the culture that blacks were going to be separate as long as there was something equal. Now, nothing was equal, and there was a lot of challenges with this, but this was one of the steps. This is one of the main causes for these racial separation because of the separate but equal Plessy versus Ferguson, as well with schools, pools, restaurants, bathrooms, all sorts of institutional racism was in place. And that racism seeped into baseball and sports as well. There was Negro League and Major League, so then they didn't even play sports together. So some of the other problems with these racial ideologies is they've created stereotypes that black men are superior athletes, and that contributed as well to segregation in sports. And so, as we discussed earlier, some of the issues with racism in the sports is there's still segregation in the locker rooms long after the racial barriers were broken down. There were struggles still as far as the black athletes would be separate from the white athletes in the locker rooms in baseball later on. There's still been dominant racial ideology supported that there's biological and cognitive differences between white and black athletes and people that are classified that way. The stereotypes include that blacks are physically superior, that they have genes for athleticism, and that there's an athletic destiny among African Americans to say that that's one of their only chances to really get out there and make it. So those are some of the issues of racism that we still see in sports today and that have influenced young black men and white men, and women for that matter, and it has different impacts on both of those races. So overall, the impact Jackie Robinson had on sports was profound. He had an ability to control his anger and his depression. It enabled him so that he was able to endure the racism and spark the integration of baseball. And one of my favorite quotes that we're going to finish off with that I was reading as far as there's just something that really impacted and encapsulated Jackie Robinson as a whole is to call Robinson a hero, an inspiration, a legacy, a pathfinder, and maker, or any other encomium is to state the truth of his effect on the people of his immediate time and whatever race and those who later discovered or rediscovered his heroic status and his legacy of a determined stance against bigotry, racism, and discrimination in all forms and circumstances. In other words, Jackie did it all. He was indeed an inspiration and legacy. So appreciate your guys' time, and I hope that you guys all go and watch Jackie Robinson 42. Thanks.